All right. Hopefully we're gonna have more coming in soon. Let's see. Somebody said something. Kate.
It was Samantha again. She just said that answered her questions.
Okay. So the team movement, we had so many sessions, Samantha. You can find it in our YouTube page. So please try to find those, and then you will be able to study that more. And you can ask Kate, maybe can find that specific one and can tell you as your coach, or Jason. In YouTube, all of those team shape videos that we already covered is in YouTube though. We're having somebody else coming in now. All right.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna start is we're gonna do some Q&A, but I'm gonna start with the subject. The dmid defensive midfields. In this case, these guys, defensive midfields, here, two reds, their mindset. What do they think about? What do they think of once the ball is on the other team's feet or once we have the ball? So the mindset of the player. If you guys are not talking, please mute yourself right now. We're going to be starting code soon. Now I'll ask you guys the question moment. You guys can unmute and ask a question. All right, the dmid mindset. So I am here. So I ask myself a couple questions as a dmid. Number one, and I'm going to ask you guys a couple different questions. You could ask too, even better questions. Off the ball. Now the blue team has the ball on its side. Off the ball, I'm asking myself, am I in a good spot? Am I in a good spot? So obviously the right mid is defending, right wing back is defending this player. Is he in a good spot? If I ask myself that question, I will say, I need to cover this guy. So I need to go a little bit deeper this way. So if this player gets beat either of the sides, give me the first one to come in. And in this case, if I'm stepping to here, the outside back can slide. Sam, here you go. We're kind of covering what you're doing. The other dmid comes back here, and this dmid also asking himself, all right, he's here. Am I in a good spot? No. I need to slide to the center. I need to cover the center. And the right mid comes back. And now we're more compact. We're only giving them here, but we're not only giving them this area anymore. So another question. Am I covering my teammate? It's a big question for a dmid. Am I covering my teammate? Yes, he is. Now he is. But when he was here, side by side with his teammate, he's not. So you go deeper. Now you're covering your teammate. Does that make sense? A thumbs up. You can say something if you want.
Yes.
So another thing I'm going to ask myself is, am I communicating with my teammates? Am I communicating? So what can I say here? I can tell my wingback to step, give him outside, don't give him the center, right? I can say, I got your back. Or you can say, you know, he's gonna drop, he's gonna go square. So when he's gonna go square, if the pass is going, you're gonna be stepping, you're gonna ask people to cover you as well, right? This is what's gonna, the shape is gonna be if that's the case. So those are some simple questions you ask yourself. So the player's mindset, dmid mindset, those are three questions. Am I in a good spot? You can write it down if you play dmid. Defensive midfield, center mid. Am I in a good spot when we don't have the ball? The other team has it, has the ball. Am I covering my teammates? Am I communicating? Those are key things. I want some opinions on what else can I ask myself as a demon. Anyone? I'm gonna call you out. All right, I'll call you out. I said I'll call you out. 2 people dropped. All right, let's see. Adam, what do you think?
I think you're just asking what else for the dmid, correct? I'm just
Yeah.
want to make sure I'm understanding.
What would you ask
The-
yourself?
Perfect. Well, if you already see the player in front of you, you've given them enough communication.
Yeah.
I want to know where the other players are. So, maybe checking over your shoulder, seeing where the forward is, seeing to your left, or depending on how you're facing, where the other attacking players are on the other team.
So simple as that. Am I aware of where everybody is? Am I aware my team shape? Am I aware of the other team's shape? So now, what if I am here and this player just beat this player moving this way, and then the forward shows up between them? Am I aware he's there? If I'm not aware, this is going to be an easy play for them. Pass, and they're going to go through here. The defender is going to step, and if this guy makes a diagonal run, they're going to have a lot of space to go to goal. So you have to be aware of, your surroundings. So I like that. That's a really good one. So I would say just name it better, right? Like, am I aware of my surroundings? Is a simple question. So we can add that to, am I in a good spot? Am I covering my teammates? Am I communicating? And am I aware of my surroundings? Is there anything else you guys can think of? Remember, this is when the other team has the ball. I think those 4 will be good to start covering this. I'm gonna go, unless you guys have something else, and you can write it down later too. What about when we have the ball? Somebody said something, Kate?
Yeah. Juan said, go ahead, Jason.
Okay. Yeah. Juan said one of the things is I am in a good spot to receive the ball when we win the ball back. If
No, that's when we have the ball. I'm getting there. This is just when we were at the mindset when off the ball, when the other team has the ball. Okay. So let's go to the questions when we have the ball. Okay. Even your teammate might have the ball, or yourself. Now, questions that can come, am I open for my teammates? That's a big one. Am I available? Am I open for my teammates? A lot of times when the pressure comes, our center mid is flat in a line right behind a player. And that's not obviously asking the right question, right? So am I open between 2 players? That's open. If this guy is far, you can actually step back here. Am I open? Because they're going to try to block going forward. You can go in here and then open the game from there. Am I open for my teammate? That's the question that I think Juan was getting at. Am I high enough? So am I giving him a proper drop? So my positioning. So again, same thing. Am I in a good spot, right? So if I have my right winger gets the ball, we're supposed to try to attack right now. The first place the dmid should, because they're the playmakers, should give him a drop. And then that player kind of backs up. 1, 2, and we are in attack right now. We can move forward. Does that make sense? So am I in a good spot is a good question. Also, that question can come in, am I high enough in the field? So if you're on the offensive side, okay, and this player just passed the ball to you right here, why are we looking for giving a pass when we have the space? So let's go higher with the ball as far as we can instead of passing it to somebody. If somebody gives you space, this much space, there's nobody around you, and you can use this space to move in anywhere you want in this area, why not use that? Recognizing that too. Am I able to push up? Or am I giving a cover for my player? Am I giving a drop for my player? Okay.
There's two questions that came in, Dodgy.
Okay.
One came from one. What they said, one of the things is I'm good. Oh, sometimes I also wonder when I'm on offense if I'm blocking an open through ball for a center forward or a number 10.
He's wondering. So
Yeah.
one, if you have the mic, do you mean that sometimes you want to cover that pass, but you don't know if you're covering it?
Yes.
Okay. So
He said, yeah.
communication from the center backs. Obviously, he's on your left. Now, right? Now we fix that issue right away. So he's on your right, he's on your left, communicating, letting them know where you're supposed to go. It's critical. Okay? So the idea with this is really communication needs to come from the deepest players. So the keeper and the center back needs to let players know what the ball sees. What does that mean? Ball sees the players moving this way, they see a through ball right here. So I see that there's a through ball. So you can step and these guys need to cover you. Or you can tell this player, let's just say it's TJ, go central. On your left, TJ. And then he's going to cover here. And that could open somewhere else though, right? So you want to make sure that you communicate quick and also ask your teammates to come more compact so we can close the center. Center is where the other teams are going to be more dangerous. They're going to have more clear opportunities. So we want to make sure we communicate well with them. Any other question?
Yeah. There's another one that came from TJ. He said, when we don't have the ball, I want to be thinking about what the other team is trying to do. Am I anticipating?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really complicated question. So yes, so if you see that they are opening the game from one side to another, you can anticipate that they're going to be passing the ball to here, right? He gets the ball, he's looking up to give the pass, so you can sneak in there and anticipate and steal that ball. But after a while, this question can be very complicated. What if this player is a very smart player? What if he sees that you're going up there and he will use that space for yourself? If you recognize this player can be dangerous with the ball, maybe you shouldn't take off and anticipate that much because he's an unexpected player. But if he's an expected player, repeats to doing the same thing, and he has a repetition of passing the ball, like flat 4 square balls, which everybody likes in Washington State, square balls. And if they're constantly doing that, read into that and steal the ball. But also don't want to do that if your other center mid is up here, right? You don't want to commit and give the space behind you guys. So it's only you should be taking that risk if you guys are not so, or the defensive line maybe is high enough right here, then you can. That's okay, right? I guess Adam left after this question. And he's back now. All right. Any other questions about that? Any other question you can ask yourself, guys? It's a very important. You can ask yourself, am I seeing the next play before I receive the ball? So if we are the red team, okay, So let's just say they're sliding in, that this is their shape. And am I seeing the next play? So did I check my shoulders? And I'm aware that I have a drop here. I have a far open the game kind of pass, right? If I get the ball, I can turn and open the game to him. And this player runs outside and we can release the ball to that player. So here is my opinion on this. This is one question we do not ask ourselves at all. Even in some of, like most of our semi-professional players, even some of the top level players I coach in colleges, universities, it's an issue. This is a problem. That's why one of the reasons that I think we struggle sometimes opening the game because we're not aware and we have to get the ball and then start thinking about the process. Too late. We want to make sure we're smart enough to know where our teammates are. So when we get the ball, we can play this one touch. A lot of times, like I was yelling at Mohammed yesterday about that and a couple other players. When you get the ball, if you're controlling it and looking down and then looking up, trying to find the pressure is now on you and they're about to steal the ball from you. But if you know where they are, you can play this ball quicker to either of the ways and we can move the ball fast. Again, the fastest player in the field is the ball. The ball is the fastest thing. No player can run as fast as the ball. So why not move the ball faster? And that's exactly what, when you're going to play the highest level, you cannot be holding on to the ball like street soccer players. Nobody cares about some of your rainbows and quick Cristiano Ronaldo's. You got to be able to do those things in a full speed if you needed to. But most of the time, at a highest level, you actually pass the ball faster than you dribble. Only dribble, like we talked about, if you have the space. Most of the time, that's how when you're going to be using your dribbling skills. So that question is an important one. Do you guys think about any other question you could ask yourself? What if when we have the ball in our feet? What is going through my mind right now? I'll give you one. How can I open the game? How can I catch the other team off guard? What is the amount of players in one side? I would ask myself, like as a player, I would ask, okay, I got the ball. There's 4 players here, and there's 1 player defending that side. That's the place to go. But you have to be able to think that very quickly. And to be able to do that, we rewind back to what we talked about. Are you aware of your surroundings before you receive the ball? So you can make that decision as quick as you can. That makes sense. Thumbs up, comment, say something. All right, guys. So dmid mindset. Am I in a good spot? Am I giving a cover? Am I giving a proper drop? Am I open for my teammates? Am I communicating? Am I aware of my surroundings? Which was a good pick from Adam. What else? Can you guys think of anything else for dmid?
So Dodgy, with the surroundings, I would say, can you know where the pressure will come from?
Yeah, exactly, same thing. So you need to know where your teammates are, but you also need to know where this guy is. Who's going to be pressuring you first? Who's the closest player? So what do we say about that? We have 3 rules. I have 3 rules about the passing, right? The player I'm going to pass it to, the players who could defend that pass, and the space. So in this case, let's just say this player is not even in it, and this player is stepping. If I pass it straight to where he is, that player is going to cut that pass. If I pass it away from him, right around here, he's going to be able to get to that ball first. So the 3 rules: the player I'm going to pass to, the player who could defend that pass, and the space. right? So to be able to arrange that, you need to be knowing your surroundings, where the pressure is coming from, like Jeff said. That's a good one, Jeff. Thank you. Anything else? Pete, what do you think?
I was gonna say that someone has another question.
Okay.
That was what we were talking. So this one came from Wyatt. He said, when the goalie has the ball, not from a goal kick, as a left center back, should I open up? And if so, in what way?
Well,
Like what
okay.
side?
So
Like if
this is
opening up
our
to the
three
right,
center
opening up
backs,
to the
correct?
pinch.
Okay. So this is our three center backs, correct? And the two dmid and the wing backs, correct? Somebody say something. Okay, that was, you guys are the worst students in the planet
Yeah,
right now.
he said yeah.
Okay, all right. So what we want to do is to be able to possess the ball. We can be, now with the new rules, we can be inside the box. So the defender is going to slide, and these two players, one of the dmids are going to be coming back to center to cover this player. And this is our starting point. Outside, mids are going to be back, and center mid is going to be moving to where we possibly could get the ball. If you do a short pass here, you're going to be able to have, if pressure comes, you're going to be able to see either a through ball, if they got compact, or a wide ball, so we can get out from there. Does that make sense? This is our setup. This is what I want from my team in goal kicks. Unless the keeper says he does this push up. Why would he say that? Maybe the other team is coming too close, too many players. They're pressing the box like this many players, and the goalie is most likely is going to say, push up, I'm going to do a long kick. Does that answer your question? Guys, this is going to go a lot
He said
faster
yeah.
if you just use your mic. Lots faster. We're recording this. People are going to be watching it around the world in YouTube. They're going to be like, what is wrong with these kids? Why don't they say anything? Don't be shy. Come on. Ben, you got this. You go to school like this now. You got this. All right. Any other questions? Do you have any like questions about a mindset for your position? What do I need to think of? I started this mindset so you guys could maybe come up with some questions about the mindset of a forward, a centerman, an outside man. What are you thinking?
Did you say my name?
No, Ajit.
Oh,
I think, what were you gonna cover next? I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I started with dmids only. I just wanted to kind of have a startup point before we do the question and answers. So you can ask anything, or about your position, thinking process, or you can make a comment about the dmids and what do you see from them that they're not doing from all the things that we talked about as a center back. Do you feel like your dmids are open for you when you get the ball?
I think that's a good point. I think starting with their defensive responsibilities, they're not really paying attention to what's behind them. So they think, oh, I'm blocking this, I'm blocking that, but I'm like, hey, if you just check your shoulder, maybe you could block this passing angle, and it would leave less gaps. And then when we retain possession, it's not that you just get rid of the ball or you're available in space. You actually have to communicate that you're open. I think those are 2 points that the dmids can do.
You heard the part that the center backs and the goalie needs to communicate. If they see a through ball, you can tell them on your left. You can also communicate with them, let them know where the pass could go.
Yeah. Definitely.
My question is to you as a center back that plays for the semi-pro team. I'm going to ask you questions, and you might be a little bit critical. Your dmids. When I ask this question to my dmid, do you think they're doing it? Okay, one by one. Because I trust you as a center back. I think you're learning the game really well and you're understanding it. So, dmid asking themselves, am I in a good spot? Do you think they're doing it?
I think they're in the best spot they could be right now because they're flat.
No, in
they're-
general, when I'm talking about in practices or in game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think there's it's not consistent enough,
Not
in my
consistent.
opinion.
Okay, so they are doing it most of the time, but not consistent.
Yeah. It looks great when we're all on the same page, but then we have these kind of sometimes it happens a lot when there's like I mentioned earlier, there's these chaotic situations. Maybe a cross comes in, I clear it out, and everyone doesn't really know. Actually, I had a question about that. We
Okay,
can do that, address that later. But in those chaotic situations, a lot of players, I feel like they lose their head a little bit and they're just chasing after the ball, or they hesitate, and by then team already crosses it and scores. So it's not just in the flow of the game, but in those chaotic situations where the
It's-
demons have to be in the right position.
there's a simple answer to that, and most of the time the problem happens with that is because Ajit, we don't call who's stepping, or the person who's going, he's not calling it. I got it. I got step. Or I press. Or you press. Nobody's communicating. So you know what happens is more than one person, sometimes 3, 4 players going towards the same direction.
Yeah.
So now we're not covering the angles that we're supposed to cover and getting back to our shape. The chaotic situations like that, chaos creates misshape. So the moment that we misshape, we need to get back to our shape. So that's the key, right? And unfortunately, if this guy, like you, just clear the ball, and this player is going to get the ball, if every single player is running to that player, then there's an opening here, and possibly there's an opening there. So 1 and 2, and they're one-on-one with the keeper, because we just created so much space by 3 of us going to the same player. Create so much space for other players in the other team. So it's communication. My bad. If our player said, dmid said, I got it, right? And then this player goes back to his position. Now we're not really giving them anything. We're not really giving them anything at all. So it's critical that we get back our team shape the moment chaotic situation is over. And when is it over? When we clear the ball wide, never to the center. When we clear it wide, that gives us enough time to become compact again. What about this question? Am I communicating? dmid.
Yeah, I think you communicate the best when you're in the midfield. Even just like one time someone passed you the ball and say you got it, and you dummied it, and I knew it beforehand, and I scored back post shot, and it never would have happened if you didn't tell me, hey, there's space. When you
But I'm asking again, Ajit, your teammates, are they doing this? Not me or this situation in practices in games. Are your teammates communicating enough with you guys?
honestly, sometimes I feel like the defense and the goalkeeper is like a separate entity. Once we get rid of the ball, or once the ball is cleared, there's no like synchronization happening between the midfield. It's like, okay, now time to link up with the wingers, or it doesn't seem like we're part of the attack or part of the process of the game. We're just like the last line of defense, and then once the ball's cleared, we don't exist anymore.
Yeah,
Happens a lot.
And last week's, I know some of you guys did not watch last week. Last week's session is critical about that. So Guardiola draws these sections. It's horrible, I know. I'm doing a horrible job. Oi. And there is like sections around here too. And there is the mid section. It's not really in the middle, but go with me for a second. So Guardiola says there is a specific players that needs to be in that area. When you're defending, what we see in our case, the wing back, dmid, and the outside back needs to come to this area, and the other two needs to slide. This player needs to slide. Now we have 3 players here, 2 players here, and this guy is at the edge of this. Okay. And the same idea in offense. So when we get the ball, we have a drop, pressure is coming. We have a drop, and we have a center player, and we can open the game. You can create triangles in these areas. Okay. So the idea with this is making sure that we fill those gaps to be able to connect with our players for the next play as well. And then in the game, I'm gonna move this here for a second. We're gonna have an outside forward here. So the outside forward needs to be showing up to this in this gap area. And then another forward, it needs to be around here to be able to connect and create a triangle. Once the ball is released to here, the center mid needs to be stepping to this, and the triangle can be connected there. And obviously, we're going to be stepping here. We're going to be stepping high. And in some cases, we're going to be filling these other corners in the game. Does that make sense? You're going to keep pushing up there, and you're going to be clearing that areas as well as kind of what we talked about before. This is the way Guardiola explains his team where to be. I don't necessarily always do that because some situations for my team can ask for different things. But I like this idea from Guardiola as well. I am more in the Mourinho mindset or Simone, even more Simone, but that's a good way to think.
Seems like he really emphasizes blocking like the half spaces, which is like the area between the 6-yard blocks and the 18 on the sides.
Yeah, I mean, and it works. I mean, you see that you saw that there was no space for that player to go. Like he's gonna have to drop it. I mean, or he's gonna try to take on our players, and we are pressure covered. So if he takes on the player, if second player goes behind him hard, we take the ball. I mean, I watched Bayern playing Tigres today. Bayern looked really tired and out of place, but their pressure coverage situations in defensive area especially was great. The midfield was the most disappointing Bayern I've ever seen because they didn't seem to cover each other. They didn't seem to run as much as they usually do in the midfield, but they're always there. Like it's just a common sense for them. When this player is defending this guy, somebody needs to be behind him. If this right back is coming there, then I need to be covering here, create a triangle for them to not go through. Obviously, this guy is going to be sliding, that guy is going to be sliding, and we're going to be ready for them to go this way. Our job is to not give them the center. And that's what we need to make sure that we continue to do. All right. Any other questions about anything else? I'm going to be calling out.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
there's a question from one again. They said, in our system, is it okay to find the deepest penetrating ball as a center back as a first option?
As in the long ball forward or long ball dropping it back to our goalie?
If they could unmute, that would be awesome, or respond.
Is that Juan asking this? Juan, can you tell me if you're talking about
Yeah.
going forward or dropping it back to deep to the goalie or some other defender? I don't think he's here anymore.
I think he meant maybe going forward. I guess.
Well,
Like a
we
long
kind of
ball,
talked
maybe.
about it last week. Why he asked this question going forward. If you see the space and you see the run from one of our forwards making a diagonal run, there is no wrong time to give a long ball to space. Because if the defensive line is too high and there are, I don't want to give a high school name right now, but when I was coaching high school, there was a couple high school teams that used to do an offside trap, and we were ready for that. So every time they were pushing as a team, our forward would make a diagonal run to the shoulder of the player, and we will release the long ball, and we scored a lot of goals. And Jeff might not like what high school that is, but like that was an issue for those defenders to deal with. If we can catch them off guard, guys, there is never a wrong pass behind the defense. We like to possess the ball. We don't really like long balls, but if they give us a good diagonal ball, that's not losing possession. That's passing the ball to your player. Even like I told you guys this before, Guardiola used to say, I mean, actually a couple of years ago, they asked him a question about tiki-taka. And he said, I hate that. That's not what we're doing. I don't want to do. I tell my players to pass the ball until we see an opening. We don't have to pass that many times. We don't have to do that many short passes. We don't necessarily don't have to do that. If I see a pass through, and if it's a long ball, Messi is making a diagonal run, and Iniesta or Xavi sees that run, give a 60-yard ball. That's great. He's not against it. It's the whole idea is catching the other team off guard and penetrate their defense. So to be able to penetrate their defense, sometimes you need to be patient, pass the ball instead of just losing it so quickly. But if you see 100% pass that could get through, why not give that pass? Hopefully that will answer that question. Any other questions? I'm going to be calling out some names now.
Nothing yet in the chat.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What are some good runs on corner kicks to free yourself up, beating different kinds of marking, zone marking, man marking? I'm just curious because there seems to be like certain ways you can get open on a corner kick that I see a lot, but I just want to like know from your perspective.
So that's a good question. It's going to be hard to show it here because we can't really twist these guys. But I'll give you number one. We have offensive set plays, so we always know where we're going to go, and we're going to be going over those set plays. When Steelers became the semi-pro WWPL champion, we scored majority of our goals from set plays. Every time I have a team that won a league in the top division, majority of our goals are from set plays. So it's important that we know those set plays, but in individual basis, Ajit, there's a couple of tricks. Obviously, one of them is running forward 2 steps and cutting back and go somewhere else. Running forward and twisting out from your shoulder and make a half circle run, that kills the mark. A lot of top level players do that one. Some of them, they do a twist their body. So what they do is, let's just say defender is on my left shoulder, and I just turn around and give him with my right shoulder. I completely turn my back and give him a little push, and I start running that way, my right shoulder. That messes up the defender's balance and a quick turn. But most of the time, a lot of players do it 2 or 3 steps forward and twist around, or straight cut back. Straight cut back, I'm not my favorite, but a lot of players do that because they're quick, they're fast, they can do it. But twist around with the shoulder in the half circle is most used by a lot of players. We will cover the set plays soon. And in Zoom, cool thing about Zoom is we can actually do a private session in Zoom with the set plays, and we can go over them in a set play. I think that's a great idea, actually. Do a set
Yeah.
plays video session, and then we do a private Zoom session with all the players, and then kind of slowly go over them in the video so we can kind of talk about it. I think that would be a great one. Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks, Ajit.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I think that'd be good for a lot of new players too, Daji.
Yep, I agree. That's a great idea. I think sometimes questions leads to great answers. I was gonna ask Dylan, do you have any questions about this? Or what do you see from your DMITs that all the
Well,
responsibilities I counted, which ones do you see and which ones you don't see?
well, I had a question about, so like, it's just so like when I play outside mid, which
Mhm.
like isn't much during practice because most of the time I'm playing defense. But like sometimes, like most of the times, I don't see the run quickly enough, or I don't see the through ball quickly enough. And I think most of that is just down to like lack of repetition. But do you have any like tips for me to see to like read this stuff quicker?
Great question. Great question. So you are talking about, Dylan, just keep your mic on. You are talking about, let's just say, as defender pass to a center mid, and you are still here.
Yeah, like I don't see that. I don't read the play quickly enough to make the run between
Okay.
the two defenders.
Great question. So this is how a player thinks. This is how an outside mid thinks. So you know how we talked about the D-mids thinking process? Now the outside mids. He gets the ball, right? The moment he gets the ball, I want you to look at where he is looking. Go in his mind, like put your head there. Where is he looking at? He sees the through right here, right? There's a space that he sees. There's a space, he's looking this way. So you just need to make sure that you respond to that saying, all right, I need to go now. He's looking forward, and there's a lot of space between the two players. I'm going to fill between two players right there. I'm gone. And a lot of times we do this. Am I going to give a drop? Is he going to give a drop? But he's looking forward. And what if, and you can also think this too, what if he's not looking forward, but you see there's a through ball here? He hasn't looked forward yet. He's just receiving the ball. He's like, okay, I see the space. I need to think forward now. I want to think offense now. I'm going to go. Why not go when there's a player here covering you anyway? When an outside player, when we have the ball, you need to think offense. You need to think offense. But most of the time, this is simpler. When the player is already looking that way, he's showing you where he wants the ball. Go.
Yeah, because like so a lot of the times like when I'm playing offense and like you see the run, a lot of the times I don't think to see what you're seeing. I'm playing from my own perspective and I don't think from other people's perspectives. So I just see like, oh, there's a open space over here, so I'll just stay over here without thinking that, oh, you see space for me to run into. So it's just something that I've always just like wondered and
I think that's a great question. Like as a player, I mean, 20 years ago, 22 years ago almost now, when I was a decent player, my coaches always used to yell at me, see what he sees. See what he sees. Like, what does the ball see? What does the ball see? Now the ball is looking this way. The player who carries the ball, that's who sees the space. So you need to start thinking right away, replace your brain and go to what he's thinking right away. And that when that starts happening, everything is going to get better. Where else can you think that way? The player defending. Okay. So let's just say you're here and this, let's get rid of that. You're here and this player is about to pass to Rogelio. Rogelio is a quick player, fast player. And if you, I'm going to go try to get the ball from him. I'm going to run straight to him. Rogelio is going to beat you right away to space. So now, when this pass is about to be given to this player, it's on the way. You need to put your mind into what he's thinking when you're defending. Rogelio likes to beat people to space. So what I'm going to go deeper. I'm going to defend him right here. When he gets the ball, he usually wants to dribble here. I'm not going to give him that. So if he's dribbling slowly, I'm going to back up with him. I'm not going to step to him. Now you are completely destroying what Rogelio wants to do. Rogelio is now, oh crap, I'm not going to be able to go through, and there's a pressure cover here, and this guy is coming in. I'm not going to go anywhere, so I'm going to just drop the ball to somebody else now. Does that make sense too?
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, so you always need to think about putting your mind to somebody else's body and think through their eyes when the ball is not with you.
Okay, that makes sense because like I've never thought of it like that. It's always been, oh, what do I see? Like sometimes when I am on defense, I do automatically like when I see like you look up during practice, I automatically do drop back because I know, oh, a long ball could be coming. So
Yeah,
like
that's
I do read it during defense, but just during offense, because I don't play it as much, I just don't see these things as quickly.
yeah, but I agree with you. With the long balls, I think you read it really well because you used to playing the center role, so you got used to that part. But when you're defending a quick player, Dylan, you seem to be side by side with him. When you're dealing with a quick and skillful player, you always want to be a little bit deeper than that player.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
one thing that I see you do. You need to make sure that you kind of think about that. He
Yeah.
wants to go behind you, so don't give him behind you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Um, Brian, you usually ask some good questions. Do you have anything?
Not right now, no.
Okay. Let's see. Brian already asked some questions before, so I'm gonna let him go. Kylie, we were kind of analyzing your play yesterday, by the way, and I was talking to some of the boys. They're so impressed with your defensive ability when you're one-on-one with the player, but they were saying you keep going too deep and you're allowing people to shoot from clear areas. So please work on that and step up higher. I know in your team, you always expect those balls, high balls to go behind the center back, so you cover them, but you need to be higher when the ball is in the center. I hope you heard that. Maddie, do you have a question? Just picking random people right now. Hey, Maddie is not there. TJ? I am not asking you a question. Do you have a question, Maddie? Maybe pay attention. TJ, are you there?
TJ said he doesn't have one right now, and Maddie said sorry, she was lagging. Her computer was lagging.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Coaches, do you have a question, Jeff? Question.
Yeah, actually, question. So, when do players know that we actually have gained possession in our defensive half? I think that's something that our players struggle with because they're not sure when to start pressing into an attack versus staying deeper and helping cover when we take possession of the ball. So I guess the question is,
Question is, when do we
how many
transition
touches?
to attack?
Yep. When do we transition? When do we transition to an attack?
Okay, well, first, it's an easy answer actually. So just a hard thinking process. Answer is easy, thinking process is hard. So if we have, when we, win the ball or we pass the ball out wide, let's just say, in this case, let's just say we just want to cross and we clear the ball wide. If we have space, this is the transition to go forward. We are already in attack, right? But if we don't have the space, we need to find a way to go forward. So they are sliding this way, obviously, right? They're sliding this way. They're all sliding this way. So there's no opening here right now. So we need to drop the ball back, and until we find a way forward. And in this case, now we just open the game, and we are now transitioning into offensive area. So just being patient until we see a penetration from either of the sides. We can drop the ball and build up to go forward. And once we going forward, we push up all as a team. And that's been one of our issues sometimes with some of our players. They're being lazy. They're like, I don't want to run back, so I don't want to push forward. That's a horrible attitude. Every time we win the ball, and if you're transitioning forward, you all have to go. You 17, 18 mix last time against the semi-pros when we played the game. We possessed the ball in the back so well, but we never moved forward. And that's why the constant attack after an attack by the semi-pros keep coming to us, because we were never leaving our half. We kept going, and sooner or later you make a mistake and the other team steals the ball. And now when you're trying to get out and you lose the ball trying to get out, that's when you're in the worst shape. So you want to make sure that at some point you need to find a transitioning moment to go forward. Does that answer it?
Yep. Thanks, Taji. Madison had a question. Her question was, if we possess the ball and take a corner kick, so we have a corner kick, we're attacking, do you want the D-mids to step into the box or give an option outside the box?
Number one, you might be in the play because we have corner set plays. We have so one of our set plays, I'll just give you a setup. So the thing about our set plays, people just assign positions to where you're going. It's not important where what position you play. We just need to make sure we cover areas. So one of our set plays is the setup is this. Let's not call it out because it's going to be YouTube. So we have 6, 7 players, right? So that leaves us 3 players. Always the other team is defending. Give more numbers in here. And yeah, and then our shape usually needs to be this. Okay, even if the guy is there, you might maybe slide a little bit this way, but that's the shape that you want to be to make it close. Guys here, we can back up, and this guy can be in the center, and even leading towards a little bit towards the ball. We have a set play that we know what to do. You guys know what to do, and we have another one. Requires only 3 people. We can bring 1 dmid back here in that one. So we're going to be going over all of those once we're going to be working on set plays. But it's not really limits responsibility necessarily, but if you're, let's just say, Matty, if you're not very good at headers or winning like a cross, we might put you up here as a last guy. But sometimes we send our center defenders because they're good at headers. We send them in there to take a corner or score a header. So they depends on their talent. So we just need to keep the shape, but the responsibilities might be different for D-mids and outside mids and forward. We just once you learn it, our set plays, it'll make more sense.
Ava, do you have a question?
Yeah. When the girls team played against the boys last week, I think, we were taking a corner kick, and the forwards, they all went in the position, but I was in the left mid, and I wasn't really sure where I was supposed to go, if I was supposed to help them or be the short.
Yeah, no, I understand. So that's why we really need to go our set plays. That's the answer to that. Because we have set up set plays and everybody has a responsibility. And we go over them lastly, but you guys seem to forget it. Like I think majority of my U19 boys now knows it. So I don't necessarily have this issue with my team, but some of my players definitely are lost. We just need to go over the set plays and where you're supposed to go and stuff. But if you don't know what you're doing, it is good to cover the side. Like let's just say if you're right mid or left mid on the side, yes, it is okay to be standing right here. You know, for a possible, the first place they're gonna clear is usually this way. So why not? Depends on the different set plays. We usually have a player that slides this way, and that could be the right mid. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm gonna show you guys something. So in the game, when we're defending a corner, our setup is this. A short right mid covers the post, and the other one covers the back post. Sometimes keepers are confident that they can get the back post. They'll send you to mark up when we're defending a corner. Most of the time, we want our outside mids to get the post. Two players, one front post, one to the center is zonal. These players are good at headers. They cover these areas. And we want everybody else in the inside the box to man mark. So for a short pass, we usually keep a player around here. So what is the positions usually? We cover by, this could be a forward that is good at headers, or two of the center backs that we have, both good at headers, and they're gonna be here. We have maybe one of the forwards coming back here for a short possible pass. Outside mids are here, and everybody else are man marking, and more of a closer welcoming committee instead of so close marking so high. If these players are coming from this far, don't mark them that far up. Like start welcoming them a little bit closer to here and block their way in a way. Don't completely stop them, but block their way in a way. I kind of wish that somebody asked that question, because I think that's something that we can really answer without going over our set plays.
Dodgy,
make
I have a
sense?
question with this.
Yeah.
So after they have their corner kick and the kind of initial pressure is over, how soon do we want to bring the players that are on the corner posts away from the goal box? Because sometimes it seems like we kind of hang out there for a while.
When
rather
the
than
moment that we clear it out,
getting
we're
engaged.
all stepping up. So even if the ball is this far up and we're stepping, we all need to step. We all need to step to where the last defender, our center back, wants us to be. The ball is cleared this way. We're stepping up all the way, all of us. Because if you stay, especially in the bar, we keep everybody on side. So if they end up stealing the ball around here and put the ball back in right away, if we don't step, like this one player, let's just say, fell asleep and still there, she just kept everybody on side, and this player has a clear shot and scores. But if she pushed up too, when they cleared the ball here, they're going to be offside clearly. We just need to make sure we stop clearing it outside the box, all of us. Does that answer your question?
That's great.
It is important, guys, that we step up as quick as we can. I tell you a story. I'm in a showcase, and U.S. soccer showcase, and we are in the semifinals. If we win it, we go to the national championship. My team just defended a corner. You guys are gonna like this one. I think I told a couple players. So we defend the corner and we clear the ball way up there, and everybody's stepping up, right? And everybody's stepping up. Anyway, so we were playing for about 5-6 minutes. Like the game is going, and one of my coach friends is one of the best coaches in the state. Eugene, one of the best trainers too. I love that guy. We both learn a lot from each other. Honestly, we are very good at communicating about soccer, and great soccer mind. So I'm gonna just put us up here for a second. I am in the red team, coach. I'm just watching the game. The game is going on, and then the coach comes to me. He says, "Hey, Dodgy," he's like, "What's wrong with your left mid?" I'm like, what are you talking about? So the game has been going like 5 to 10 minutes at this point. And then he just points with his finger this way. He's like, he's still in the post. He's still there. The game is going on. My player fell asleep. He's watching the game from the post, holding the post like this. He's completely watching the game from there. And if any possible long ball, all of these guys are actually on side because of him. So the coach is kind of making fun of my player, and I don't know what to do. I'm mad that my player did not push up, but I'm also laughing at the same time. So for his birthday, we were going to celebrate his birthday in the chat rooms. We said, "Hey, happy birthday." One of the players wanted to make a joke, and he bought it like one of those tubes that looks like a post, like plumbing thing. And they gave him as a birthday present because he likes the post so much. So that was awesome. That was a good memory for sure. So make sure that you don't stuck and fall in love with the post. You want to make sure the moment we push up, we all push up. All right, any questions? All right, guys, thank you. I hope that answers a lot of your questions. DMIDs is a big subject. We're missing a lot of players tonight, but thank you for all the questions and concerns. I think it's time for you guys to be really disappointed with some of your teammates that are missing this, and then they're saying they're going to watch it. But I watched the YouTube views. There's only like 4 or 5 views, so they're not watching this, guys. So these are game changers. You guys are going to look better in the game knowing these things. I wish that I knew these things as a player. Even when I played professional soccer, we had these meetings sometimes, but this is week basis. We are actually giving you guys this. None of the other clubs are doing this. I wish that you guys take advantage of it. Thank you for the ones coming and showing up. I appreciate